Hello, hello, hello. Cameraman, get that straight. That's it, cameraman. Alpha and Omega have got the lights right, but John Kennedy's got the the damn angle wrong. Anyway, this is Bard. Oh, wait a minute. This is Sir David the Bard. God, I'm getting shorter. My name's following my penis. Good Lord. It's Sir David the Bard. I'm coming to you out of Ogden, Utah. And the reason I'm up here is we have another Utah weenie out of the pants. God, every 4 or 5 days, somebody in Utah is trying to hump an alligator or a 13 or 14-year-old girl. They have the Joseph Smith syndrome. If there's grass on the field, play ball! Jesus, he's adult. This guy's 54 years old. You would think at that age he wouldn't want to dance with Bubba. Let me see if I can get him up here. Bubba dancing. It's kind of like the salsa naked. Alright, here it comes out of the Desert News. That's the Mormon rag that never reports anything right. It's 19 hours ago, May 19th, 5:55 p.m. Desert News, charge. Ogden man abused teen girl walking home from school. You can't get on the school bus in Utah. You can't even walk home in Utah. You can't ride a bike. You can't, I mean, if you got a vagina, you're going to wish you were dead if you're a girl in Utah. Anyway, Ogden. An Ogden man was charged Monday with luring a 13-year-old girl walking home from school into his apartment and sexually abusing her. Now, a 13-year-old girl, really, her parents, I think, are totally irresponsible. A girl that age ought to say, screw you, scream, yell, and go report this dude. But she goes into his apartment. Dan Thompson, oh, he's 59, was charged in second-degree district court with aggravated sexual abuse of a child, a first-degree felony. Almost 60 years old, and this guy doesn't have any sense to keep the weenie in the pants. Ogden police believe Thompson had attempted to entice the young girl who had walked alone the same way to and from school all year, prior to assaulting her. On April 29th, Thompson finally convinced the girl to go into his apartment. According to a police affidavit, once inside the apartment, the girl was allegedly abused. As of Monday, Ogden Police Lieutenant Daniel Cryle said there was no evidence of any other victims, but if someone is a victim, call this phone number. So anyway, as usual, there's no comments left in Utah on sexual abuse. I ought to go down there and make my comment, but let me come back up to YouTube. Let me say this about that. There is a sexual crime against a child nearly daily in Utah. Now, I only report the ones that are reported. And you know damn well, and I told you before, my father was a child molester. And he molested my sister for, oh Lord, 3 or 4 years, and finally she told somebody. And he got in trouble for that, but not legal trouble. Back in those days, the Mormon church just swept it under the carpet, and he was the Sunday school superintendent. Superintendent, my ass! He couldn't drive a tractor, and he's the superintendent like he's got a PhD degree in Sunday school. Well, anyway, the church said, don't do that anymore. They didn't report it. They didn't do shit. Well, my mom divorced his ass, and he went and married a fat lady from the circus. Now, he's dead, so I don't give a shit about his life either. He's a loser. A total loser. So he marries the fat, bearded lady from the circus, and she has a 10-year-old daughter. Well, my dad said he was forgiven by the Lord for molesting my sister because he repented, and in the Mormon church, if you repent, the Lord does not remember your sin anymore. Now, I was only 15 or 17, I don't know, and I thought, you know, Dad, you got shit for brains and I'm young. Well, he decided to be an individual seminary teacher. He took the 10-year-old girl downstairs every morning before she went to school, and they went in the bathroom and masturbated each other. Well, I guess they unlocked the door one day, or didn't lock the door, and the fat lady came down, and she was pissed. In there, you know, her husband screwing the little baby girl, and the baby girl, you know, hand jobbing or blowing the husband. Good old dad! Good old dad! He's going to the celestial kingdom, according to the Mormons. I wondered if he was wearing his garments while she's masturbating. I don't know. I don't know. So anyway, she was crying, and I came over to her house one day, and she was crying, and I said, what's the problem? And she said, well, your dad might get excommunicated from the church, but because this is his first time molesting children, they may go easy on him. I said, Diane, it ain't his first time. He molested my sister for years and years. Well, she went berserk. And then I was thrown out of their house. I was ejected because they killed the messenger. Anyway, he died with those sins on his head, and what can you do? Then there was rumor that he enticed a couple of girls in the neighborhood, too. So I always wondered why kids didn't want to be around him. I always wondered why the cats wouldn't sit on his lap and dogs would bite him. The animal kingdom knew of his behavior. Anyway, here's a guy, 59 years old. He talks a 13-year-old into his house. What does he think is going to happen? He's going to go to jail. He's going to be humiliated. He's going to be embarrassed. And then he's going to bend over in jail, and Bubba is going to corncob this man and punish him for what he did to a little girl. So, if you're in Utah, watch out for the police, watch out for the Tabernacle Choir, watch out for the 7th and 8th grade teachers that are teaching math and other classes, watch out for the coaches on the basketball teams, watch out for the Boy Scouts, watch out, watch out, watch out. In other words, if you have a daughter in Utah, you need to put an iron tent on her head. No one can see her, kind of like the Muslim girls. And if any man tries to touch them or entice them, she should just lift up a cattle prod, grab his testicles, and let the old testicles come alive. Anyway, welcome to Utah. The Mormon Church suppresses sexuality. The women are as bad as the men. The women are about 40% of the molestations of children in the state of Utah. The men are the other 60%. So anyway, these kids that they molest are not going to have health and enable, marrow and the bone, strength, and the loins and the sinews, power and the priesthood be upon me and upon my posterity through all generations of time and throughout all eternity. The bard is gone. Mentally.